the horror that played out inside a frat house at Penn State University. As a 19-year-old lay dying after a night of alcohol-fueled hazing, the fraternity brothers allegedly did little to help. Instead, their concern was reportedly how to cover it all up. Tonight, we hear from the one student who says he tried to help.
I kind of lost it. I was screaming and yelling. I was saying, we need to take him to a hospital. We should call an ambulance, dial 911.
If the brothers of Beta Theta Pi at Penn State had taken the advice Cordell Davis says he gave after Timothy Piazza fell down the stairs at a fraternity party, Timothy might still be alive. But instead, they reportedly waited nearly 12 hours to call for help, and the 19-year-old died from traumatic brain injuries. Tonight, 18 Penn State fraternity brothers are facing charges, 8 of them charged with involuntary manslaughter and assault.
It's heartbreaking all around. There's no winners. We don't win by even charging these young men, because the only win is for him to be alive.
Piazza, an engineering major from New Jersey, remembered by his family as a vibrant young man. His brother Mike wrote on Facebook that Timothy's sole mission in life was to make other people smile.
He didn't know that he was walking that night into a den of depravity. Tim Piazza was in a forced hazing ritual of alcohol poisoning.
On Friday, Piazza's parents spoke out at a press conference.
This didn't have to happen. This is the result of a feeling of entitlement, flagrant disobedience of the law, and disregard for moral values.
On the night of February 2nd, prosecutors say Piazza and 13 other Beta Theta Pi pledges participated in a hazing ritual called the Gauntlet, consuming 4 to 5 drinks in just 2 minutes.
They bring the pledges and make them drink copious amounts of alcohol really quickly.
Piazza then reportedly fell down a flight of stairs. One brother allegedly texted another. He fell 15 feet down a flight of stairs, hair first, going to need help. Piazza was reportedly lying unconscious on the stair landing and was then carried to a couch.
Everybody was surrounding him, basically laughing, pointing. They were the ones making jokes. They were the ones laughing, not Timothy.
Cordell Davis, who was in the room, says he did everything in his power to get someone to help his friend.
Right away, I kind of started freaking out. So I'm saying, if Tim fell, he cannot be here on this couch. He needs to be taken to the hospital. We should call 911.
A grand jury report released on Friday sheds light on what allegedly happened inside that fraternity house, detailing surveillance video that the report says captured nearly 8 hours of the sophomore's increasing distress and injured Piazza trying to get up, repeatedly falling over and over again. 4 men seen dragging his limp body upstairs, others trying to rouse him by slapping his face and pouring water over him.
This was the worst possible debauchery and depravity that you could possibly have. The acts of callousness towards a young man who was horribly wounded and was left to die.
After 10 a.m. the following morning, Piazza was reportedly found lying on the couch, breathing heavily with blood on his face.
He had very serious injuries. He had irreversible brainstem injury.
But allegedly, no one immediately called 911. The report says at 10:35 a.m., one brother was searching on his phone for the phrase falling asleep after head injury, and a few minutes later at 10:41 a.m., binge drinking, alcohol, bruising or discoloration, cold feet, and cold hands. Then, at 10:48 a.m., the brothers finally decided to call 911, nearly 12 hours after Piazza's fall, raising little alarm on the call about Piazza's dire condition and giving the dispatcher precious few details.
What's going on today?
We have a friend who is unconscious. He hasn't moved. He's cold extremity. It's probably need an ambulance.
And was he breathing?
He is breathing.
Was there any alcohol or anything involved, do you know?
Yes, there is.
And when they finally did call for help, they did not tell anyone that he had fallen.
Piazza died the next day in the intensive care unit. His blood alcohol level was 0.40, 5 times the legal limit, according to the report. Prosecutors allege his frat brothers were trying to cover up their drinking and coordinate a story.
Of course, it's a tragedy, but, that doesn't mean there was any intent involved in any of this.
Investigators say only one student, Cordell Davis, who is not charged, tried to help, but was literally pushed aside.
I got pushed into a wall. I got told that I needed to leave the room. This is something that happens all the time, that they're so used to doing this that they know how to handle the situation. I felt pretty useless and powerless.
Davis sat down with my colleague, Robin Roberts, earlier today on Good Morning America.
You didn't think to remove yourself from the situation and get your friend help?
I did. I said, he needs to be at the hospital right now. I said,
You didn't feel like you could leave?
I was told that I was overreacting.
Cordell Davis at least stood up for the proposition that we need to call 911 to let another human being in a deteriorating condition with clear, severe injuries continue to die in front of their very eyes is unjustifiable.
An eerily similar campus death happened back in 2009. 18-year-old Joseph Dado was found dead at the bottom of a campus stairwell after a night of drinking at 2 fraternities. His death was ruled accidental. The president of Penn State called the alleged details of Piazza's death sickening and difficult to understand. Penn State has now permanently banned the fraternity Beta Theta Pi, stating hazing and dangerous drinking are not permitted.
The problem is that the way in which fraternities and a lot of groups where men are sort of brought into becoming like real men is that it's about subjugation and domination and abuse.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's main event.
Fraternity life is often airbrushed by Hollywood in movies such as Old School and Animal House.
Hello?
Get your ugly goat to the house in 11 minutes or you're dead.
But last year, Goat sought to shed light on the dark underbelly of Greek life.
Guantanamo style, there we go.
My Nightline co-anchor Juju Chang spoke with the brothers whose real-life experiences with Greek life provided the inspiration for Goat.
As I'm watching some of these scenes, the duct tape scene, the cage scene, I'm thinking this can't be true.
I think it's kind of tame. It can be a bit tame, actually.
Yeah. You think it's worse in real life?
Yes, it was worse.
The consequences of hazing are often dire. At least one person has died from the practice every year since 1969. Among them, 19-year-old Chun Michael Deng. In 2013, authorities say members of the Pi Delta Psi frat from Baruch College forced Deng and his fellow pledges to run across a frozen field blindfolded, weighted down with 30-pound backpacks, all while being assaulted.
He was singled out and he was treated harsher than the other pledges.
Deng lost consciousness, and police say it took the students nearly 2 hours before they drove him to a hospital. He later died.
A lot of individuals who refused to cooperate, that they lied to the police, they hid and tried to hide evidence.
37 students were indicted, but so far only one brother had pled guilty to charges connected to Deng's death. 5 are awaiting trials on third-degree murder charges. Back at Penn State, 8 more fraternity brothers are scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow afternoon, but the charges are bringing little comfort to a family rocked with grief and a campus shaken by a death that could have been avoided.
No one should ever stop someone from trying to call for help.